Welcome, everyone, to the PW Fan, the ultimate pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. This is episode 137. I am your host, collector, barber, musician, and most importantly, a professional wrestling podcaster, and that is an homage to Cole Cabana, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Andy.
I am also host and no-selling wrestling indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
All right, before we get started, I'm feeling a little cheese. Sometimes I got the cheese whiz, and I want to put a little cheese whiz on that sandwich. And I just want to say that I'm very happy to be here with you guys. I love you both very much, and y'all are two of my best friends in the whole world. And every time we get to do this, I am very thankful. Especially, just getting to start all together is always cool because we all live, our own busy lives and stuff. But today we will be discussing and reviewing the happenings in the world of professional wrestling this week, including Stephanie Vacour, Mariah May, CM Punk, and more. Now, full transparency, this episode, look, there wasn't a lot of crazy stuff that happened this week, like overall, but we're here. We're going to have a good time. We're going to make some jokes. But yeah, I'm going to pass it over to Booker Andy here, and he's going to get us started on this week's show.
So the newest episodes of Biography, well, I guess technically, yeah. Newest episode of Biography on A&E was The Miz, 2 hours long with commercials. Very interesting. I haven't finished it, but I'm like 30 minutes left. It goes a lot. I mean, it starts from childhood all the way up. So I know how some people are just like, screw the Miz, but it's still super interesting. What other Miz biographies are out there,
It's true.
And it's an interesting story.
I've thought for years since around the time where he cut that promo on Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack, that I started thinking probably back then, I was like, the Miz is like kind of underrated. And like, I feel like finally this poor guy, after all these years, is starting to get some
respect for him now.
He's getting some respect on his name, as Birdman would say. Put some respect on my name.
Like, there's the little things. Like, he even talks about, like, they show the Woodstock 99 clip of him. Like, he's... If you've ever seen the... anyone out there ever saw the Netflix documentary, he's the first person they show.
He's the very first person, yeah.
What was very interesting to me is today, actually, I was... we're talking about how in that biography they cover the fact that a lot of people didn't like The Miz, Shawn Michaels included, other legends, they didn't like the guy.
Michaels talks in the doc.
Yeah, they at one point kicked him out of the locker room. And what's very interesting is I just watched a clip from Andy. You might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's 2015 or 16. It's either 15 through 17, around there, where Enzo is in the ring and he's getting punished because he got kicked off the bus in real life. So his punishment was for the Miz to basically roast the shit out of him on Raw. And dude, the Miz eviscerated him. Like, I have to send you guys the clip. It's crazy. He's like, and that's why nobody likes you. And that's why you get kicked off the bus. And that's why you get kicked out of the locker room. And dude, it's crazy. Like, he's just verbally annihilating him. But it's ironic that it's coming from the guy that also kind of had the same thing happen to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember when that happened because I was back into wrestling by then.
Yeah,
we were probably watching Raw.
Enzo got absolutely eviscerated in that promo. Now, apparently, he was told not to respond, but like, I don't even know how you'd respond to some of the stuff he was saying. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was interesting. Miz got kicked out of the locker room after his match with Taker, and 6 months of having to change on his own. Taker let him back in the locker room, even though Taker... It's never been known exactly or come out of who exactly kicked him out.
Yeah.
He just said it wasn't Undertaker.
The rumor I read is it was Batista. That was the rumor I read.
Okay.
But this was years ago.
But yeah, Flair talks on the dock.
But this is years ago, and that's dirt sheet shit, so I don't want anybody to be like, yeah, it's fat dude Batista did it. I'm like, I just read, that could have been fictional story. I don't know. I heard it was Batista.
Yeah, Flair talks on the dock, Cena, Michaels. So I'm not done it. I haven't started the new episode Treasures, which was that came back, and the first episode back is Ultimate Warrior. I was trying to think what memorabilia of Warrior would there be, like some tassels or gear. All I could really think is like
Nah, dude.
maybe the gray vest he debuted in WCW with.
Let me throw you guys a couple things out there about Warrior. I'm going to give you guys some Warrior facts right now, okay? Warrior, not a great wrestler. Obviously, not a worker. Big character, people loved him. Ultimate Warrior, kind of a weird guy. Said some very controversial statements over the years, especially about like the LGBTQ community that weren't very cool. And he's also made other statements that weren't, the gay community, which, that's not very nice. But here's the thing about him. Dude was a great businessman. He knew how to market himself. Anytime Mattel would do a figure for him, he'd say, okay, that's fine. You can do Ultimate Warrior figures, but I want like 2 or 3 figures that are exclusive to me and my website, so they're super rare. So, dude, there's Ultimate Warrior Mattel figures that's like one of 5 that go for like
that's crazy.
That go for like $5,000. Dude was smart. He understood collectibles. He knew how to merchandise himself and market himself. I mean, even that stupid comic book that everybody makes fun of, like, yo, it's a horrible comic book, and like, dude, people still buy that shit for a lot of money.
So we'll see. I mean, maybe some of that stuff could be in the Treasures episode. I don't know.
I'm telling you, give it a shot. That episode will be way more interesting than you guys think. Warrior was a smart dude when it came to that shit.
All right. Another thing, Stephanie Vaquer, who we talked about after Forbidden Door, who faced Mercedes Moné. I think last week we might have said that she was signing with WWE. If we didn't, well, she did sign with WWE. They were in Mexico recently over the weekend, had a live event there. She made a debut against one half of the women's tag team champions, Isla Dawn, which she won her match in Mexico. And we got to find out that she is debuting next week. I don't think this week, because I feel like this week was already written. She's debuting next week in NXT. So put the strap on her fast.
Strap
against Roxanne Perez.
Yo, put that strap on. You heard me.
She's keeping her name, so that's good. Excited to see her. And then one thing I forgot to add in the notes.
Some of the listeners are laughing.
WWE, they've opened the Forbidden Door, quote unquote, to TNA. Well, AJ Styles had a match in Noah over the weekend.
I watched the whole thing last night. It was dope.
Against,
it was on some guy on X posted it, and he said, "Fuck it, here it is, match."
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
It was awesome.
So it was AJ Styles versus Naomichi. AJ Styles versus Naomichi Marufuji. AJ Styles, I mean, surprisingly, in my opinion, won because he's not from that company. That's why it's surprising to me.
How did that even
like
come
a relationship now between those companies?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't know. Is that the company that Shinsuke wrestled? Yeah. Who did he wrestle against?
What was the
Great
company
Muta?
that was shoving their hands up their ass?
That was his last match. What?
That was what?
Remember? You guys don't remember Kenny he was shoving his hands up somebody's ass? There was like some like crazy. This is why Corny gets so heated at Kenny, because there's some crazy like footage of like him. It's like the same.
I remember when he fought a kid.
Yeah, it was like the kid and the doll, and then he like did a spot where he like put his fingers up somebody's butt and like power bombed them.
That's just so funny to me.
I think it's DDT.
I think Jim has. I think DDT. I think Jim has admitted that he thinks Kenny's a great athlete and stuff. He's like, he's done the unforgivable, so I can never, like he's like the doll, the ass, like he's like I could just never. He's like I could never forgive him for it.
But
The kid one,
AJ
sorry,
would come
sorry.
out in his mask that he liked to wear in Japan.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I like his mask though. I wish he would bring that over in WWE.
He did
I
one
feel
time,
like
right?
he has that live events.
Did he?
Events maybe. Or no,
Didn't
he's brought in like a pay-per-view before.
they did the show in Japan that he wore it. I think he only does it for.
Oh,
It's like a Bullet Club
Japan.
mask. It has like it's the mask that he has on his tights, like the gas mask, but he has like a lucha version of it.
Yeah.
okay.
So let's get into the TV shows. I set things up a little differently this week. I'm going to go AEW straight through, and then all WWE stuff straight through instead of bouncing around. So I'm not talking about Rampage this week. I watched it. Didn't think there was anything that was worth mentioning that added to anything.
Hey, the
Dynamite.
Big, that big guy on Instagram who's that like indie wrestler who he always makes those funny videos that's like when you have when the young boy has a switch in his bag instead of pills and a gun or whatever. Like I've sent you guys the video. It's like I think he wrestled on Rampage. It's very cool. I was happy for him.
I'll have to go back and watch it then. I didn't see him.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Now, I don't know I can't remember if all their shows this week were in Calgary, but some definitely were. Dynamite was because Britt Baker came out in a cowboy hat. So we'll get to that. So, Dynamite, Bryan Danielson would defeat Heyman, Adam Page to move on to All In. We now have the main event of All In set. Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Title.
That's been a great match.
Much better than the idea of doing Swerve and Hangman 3.
Is it 4?
I thought it was
Swerve's
3.
won twice.
No, this... Yeah, I didn't think Hangman had beaten Swerve at all, but I could be wrong. I thought they only had 2. Even worse, if they had done it, then it would be 4. Even worse if it was 4.
Yeah.
Right after this, Swerve would come to the ring, and he would say that he's joining Team AEW for Blood and Guts. So, Team Elite, all right, it's 5 people. It's Okada, Jack Perry, the Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page. Team AEW, we only have 2 of the 5 people. Mark Briscoe, ROH champion, and Swerve Strickland, AEW champion. 3 more to be decided.
More than likely.
Who do you think?
I was going to say more than likely the Acclaimed.
So that's 2, because it's tag team against the tag team. Okay, so then 1 more.
I feel like it could be Mox, because he's like more AEW than anything.
I mean, yeah. I'm not...
Like, I don't see anyone else really doing that.
Darby's getting involved lately.
Darby?
They showed him backstage.
Yeah.
He said, you thought this was over, Bucks? Because remember, they took him out after the Sting stuff the next day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it could be Darby then.
I was supposed to be writing him off of television, then got hurt and couldn't climb Everest.
Yeah. That's right.
Chris Jericho would have a match against Samoa Joe, and at the end of it, he would pick up Samoa Joe in a forklift and drive him through a makeshift wall, which was really just a drive wall. I did see during the match that he used horseshoes, and people zoomed in and saw that they were, or claimed that they were plastic. Plastic horseshoes. And then the internet wrestling community, and because of Jim Cornette, they would say, "Oh, Aubrey lost her shoes."
She was distracted. She got distracted. There's some oats on the side of the ring.
So these horseshoes that were in the ring, people were like, Aubrey lost her shoes. But also people were saying that they were fake and plastic. I couldn't really tell from the photo.
She made the mistake of saying that she wanted Brody Lee to powerbomb or whatever corny through the the table.
Pissed off corny. And now the joke's come. Yeah. So, Jerry, the whole learning tree thing now is like they're pretending to be nice, but really they're like the front is nice, but deep down they're bad. Like,
Yeah.
because Jericho kind of gave a look.
What
to
do you
the
think?
camera after this.
Brian Last says this is the worst shit Jericho's ever done, ever, and it's fucking horrible.
I think it's pretty bad.
It's really bad. Yeah,
it's really bad. But there's like
Jericho
anything.
says it's the best thing he's ever done.
Like anything Jericho does. I mean, look, it's not like he's not funny. Every now and then he'll make me laugh. But yeah, I would say this.
Yeah, like last week was good.
Yeah, like just sometimes it's like, dude, this isn't your best work. Like when he was doing the list and when he would do the like some of that stuff, like that was some funny shit. It was good.
Was it this week, Jeremy, that he threw a fireball at Hook, or was this last week?
Like this week, as in like for what we're talking about,
like Dynamite. He did throw a fireball at Hook.
Yeah,
he brought that back because he's a wizard, right? That was the whole.
He's a wizard.
Oh my god! All right, well, Mercedes Moné. It's Mercedes Moné. I know.
And he's just from Maryland, so he just says everything. Well, we all are actually. So we just say everything with the O.
What the hell? We're all from the same place.
We're like, ew. We're like, ew, dude, that's that. Like, dude, that's a fucking ooze, bro. Pothole up ahead.
Mercedes.
Ass fat as a whore. You heard me.
Hey, stupid. Hey, dummy.
Pothole up ahead, stupid.
Mercedes would come out and have a celebration for winning the New Japan Strong Women's Championship at Forbidden Door. She would butcher Bret Hart's catchphrase when she did a promo. This promo was eventually interrupted by Britt Baker, who would come down in a cowboy hat, and Mercedes Moné would run away. And that was pretty much the whole segment, just continuing the whole all-in storyline between these two.
I'll say this, Jeremy. You have a Catman picture behind your head, and that is much more fascinating than the Mercedes Moné match that we're talking about. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Also, I've brought this up in the past when he first got it, like the first week he got it. Not to mention, I sent you both the video of a guy putting a cat mask on his cat.
I love that
Batman
video.
Mask on his cat.
Yeah, it's so funny. I love that video.
And then Jeremy said, "Oh, I need to do that to my own cat."
Yeah, I need to get a small Batman hat.
All the comments on that Catman video are all like the way bro. It's like the way bro got new characters so quick because he doesn't like it for like the first second, and then he's like,
"No, what's he do?" He's like, the main event of Dynamite though this week was Mariah May defeating Willow Nightingale to see who goes all in to face Toni Storm. Mariah May, who's friends with Toni Storm, would end up winning. And so we now had these two friends pitted against each other. Mariah would make her way up to the top of the ramp to grab the Owen Hart championship, Owen Hart Tournament championship. She would grab it, turn around, and hit Toni Storm with it, turning on her. Sinclair must have gotten to her, as we say when a betrayal has happened. And then proceeded to basically destroy Toni Storm, take Toni's heel, and hit her open, hit her with it a bunch of times in the head.
Yeah.
This was a great. I mean, the crowd loved it. I think the crowd likes Mariah May. I think she's going to talk this week and explain her actions coming up. But I loved how this was done. I thought it was done really well, and I thought it was a good way to close out Dynamite.
Yeah, one of the few recent times I can think of that AEW got like a nice reaction from a turn, and also everyone else loved it. I thought it was really cool, and I like the blood part, like the blood from Toni Storm, because she doesn't ever bleed really, and it's red in the black and white.
Mariah May versus Toni Storm, all in. Jamie Hayter's from England. Does Jamie Hayter come back?
They said they had plans for her pretty soon.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I read.
Yeah. Is All In their next pay-per-view? Do they have anything before that?
Mm-mm.
So
It's all
August,
in.
okay.
Then it's all out. Like probably a
Nice.
week later or some shit, because that's what they do.
I think he made it. He made it like
I think
2
they
weeks.
moved it. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they moved
because
it.
Tony Khan's like, I listened to the fans, so they moved it like 1 week.
Yeah. So you're gonna make me pay that much money back to back? Come on.
I know. That's the part that gets me.
Okay, so that was Dynamite. Collision this week. Again, show was in Calgary. Takeshita would have a match, and he would end up winning. He would defeat Tommy Billington, aka I guess they're still calling him the Dynamite Kid, which is, in my opinion, weird to call him that.
Yeah.
I know it's the original Dynamite Kid's nephew, but still.
Yeah,
It's
it's
kind
still
of, to
kind of
me,
weird.
I mean, I guess it's not the same. I was going to say Chris Benoit's son wants to be called Chris Benoit when he wrestles.
Oh. Yeah. I was like, where are you going with this?
And where I'm not going to talk
Andy!
Dude, don't cut that out, all right?
Bleep.
You know,
I'm going to bleep it.
Bleep it.
No
bleeping
one
it.
knows what I'm talking about.
Bleeping it.
Fine. I think the fans enjoy the bleeping, so if you want to bleep things, bleep it. But don't
Fine.
we don't
Alright.
cut anymore.
Just bleep.
Just bleep. Afterwards, though, Downcast would try to recruit Billington, and Tommy Billington would say no. Downcast would slap him, and then he would get attacked by Tommy Billington. Takeshita would then start attacking him as well, and FTR, who have been off TV for a little bit, would come out. Of course they did, because it's Calgary, and they are obsessed with the Hart family. So
They're like, we're in Canada. It's Bret Hart country. We got to be on the
they came
show.
out for the save. Cash Wheeler does not have a beard anymore, and it looked weird to me.
That is super weird, I think.
Yeah. Dax still has a mustache, which is fine.
Yeah.
This next part was a little weird to me. The Bang Bang Gang had a match minus Jay White, and since Jay White has been taken out of action due to the patriarchy, Juice Robinson said that he would now take over as the third part of the trios champions. Christopher Daniels would then come out and say, you can't do that. So since Jay White was taken out, you have now been stripped of the titles. So, Patriarchy versus Bang Bang Gang is booked. I can't remember if it was booked for All In or not, but
Sounds like an all-out match.
yeah. But the winners of this will then get the vacated trios titles, which is like kind of like stupid. Like you're gonna strip them and then give them title shot to win them back.
Yeah. Like usually they're just not in the title picture anymore.
Yeah. And then I can't remember if this was the main event. No, it wasn't the main event. Roderick Strong, though, would defeat Dalton Castle to earn an ROH title shot. So Roderick Strong will be facing Mark Briscoe, don't know when, for the ROH title. That's all I got for AEW this week. I mean, I told you, it's nothing like too exciting. The most exciting thing was the Mariah May turn.
Yeah. I think so. And also,
we said at the top of the
Tim, did you
show,
see the...
It's one of those weeks, guys. There was a lot of things happening in the rest of the world, which we'll touch on very briefly at the end. Very briefly, I have a little statement I'm going to say, and that's it. So if that's what you're looking for, stick around to the end. That's all I got to say about that.
I was going to say, Tim, did you see
everyone
the...
just fast forwarding to the end?
Yeah, everyone just fast forward.
I was like,
Did you see the
I'm going to give you
teaser?
I'm going to give you a heartfelt from my soul answer, and I'm not going to bash anyone. So if that's what you want, that's not what you're going to get.
Basham Brothers.
Basham Brothers.
All right, you guys ready to get into WWE?
Yep.
I know you guys want to talk about CM Punk. This past Raw, CM Punk would open up the show. Again, vowing that Drew McIntyre would not be champion as long as he could help it. This is the kind of thing that, fueled his interference at Money in the Bank, which we said before in our predictions that if Drew did cash in, Punk would thwart him. But in the middle of his promo, Seth Rollins would interrupt, who, if y'all remember, was not very happy at the end of the Money in the Bank match. Basically causing him to not be champion at the end by helping Damian, Um, pretty much saying that Punk that actions have consequences, and didn't he tell him also that based off their last altercation, he said to stay out of his business?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from last time he said.
Yeah, this whole promo was pretty crazy.
So some quotes from the entire segment was Punk saying that the ratings took a dip because Drew McIntyre was on television. Rollins to Punk would say, there are consequences to your actions. CM Punk is the CM Punk. Oh, no, Punk would say there are consequences to your actions, talking in third person here. CM Punk is the consequences to your stupid actions. And then Rollins would say, I'm above you, and I'm not just talking about the heels. Talking about his own attire that he wears. But it's always a strong opener when you got someone like Punk and Seth opening up the show. Sets the tone for the rest of it.
The thing that I thought was like, I couldn't tell if it was real or not. I think I said it to you, both of you guys. But when Seth was like, the world does not revolve around CM Punk, and he like yelled it at him. I was like, I felt like that he needed to get that off his chest. That was around the time
that Tim texted, I can't stand the real tension and awkwardness between you two.
I get I don't know about you guys. I get like I mean, I've had this my whole life. I don't like real weirdness like that. Like even if it like I'm at work or like if two dudes are like arguing, I'm like I'm out. I'm like I'm done. Like I don't want to be around. Like
I got to be the one that argues. If it ain't me, I ain't cool with it.
Well, we covered that.
We never talked about it.
No, we got so.
I think a little bit.
I think years ago we talked about it.
Long story short,
Full Gear. What 20 what?
It was the very first Full Gear, so 2019.
Full Gear 2019. Wow. I got in a fight with somebody at the arena.
Not a verbal argument, not a
verbal
fist fight. Verbal.
And then,
if you're listening to this, guy, Sami Zayn's look-alike, fuck off.
Yeah, that was my roast of the night. I said, all right, Sami Zayn, go fuck yourself, because he could look exactly like him. And I'm not gonna lie, it got a little bit of a pop. People were laughing.
You got a pop.
I was talking to a British guy about American politics, and Tim's like, "Hey, we're all trying to have a good time here. Paid a lot of money for these seats. You're basically fucking ruining."
I was like, "Can we not do this right now?" And then the dude was like, "We're fine down here." And then I don't know. I blacked out in anger at that point.
Well, that guy ended up getting kicked out later. So
yeah,
it clearly was the problem.
I wasn't the problem. Like that guy later mouthed off to another person next to him, and then finally the whole section had enough of the guy. Yeah, the whole section had enough of the guy.
When he left.
Yeah, they cheered when he left, and then I leaned down to the woman in front of me, and I said, and he said I was the problem, and then everybody like started like. like laughing because I was like, dude, I just called him out on it that he was an idiot. Like, but then
the show hadn't even started yet. Keep in mind, by the way, when Tim does this, we were still waiting for the show to start.
It's all I can hear is just this guy talking to this British guy is being like, I don't care.
Too quiet.
And this drunk ass this drunk ass dude is just being like, Trump, like, you know, this is years ago at this point, and the British guy's like, dude, I'm just trying to watch the show. And I felt like, as like the local American Northeastern guy, that I needed to check this dude. Like, and I took it upon myself to do it. But yeah, and then also when Knocked Loose played like a month ago, I got in a fight. But that's a whole nother story. I got pushed, okay? Got pushed. Somebody pushed me.
All right, moving on.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
I don't have an anger problem. I mean, 6 years between fights is pretty good. I mean, come on. 2019 to like.
I mean, this one got a little more physical. Anyway, but no punches were thrown, just a lot of shoving. And then, yeah, security guards come over. Okay, back to wrestling. Jey Uso And by the way, I just happen to be there every time. Like, it's just real fun.
I felt
I'm
so
the only one that can drag Tim.
that was
Tim
the
do, like,
that was the thing I
public
felt
thing.
so bad about when I was leaving. I was like, holy shit. One of the years ago when Andy and I were together, this same kind of thing happened. I feel like I need to tell
Tim's
the
just
story.
like, I swear I'm not an angry guy. I was like,
Let me just
Tim tells me that all the time.
history would say different.
No, look. Let me explain. I'll keep it real short. I'll do here's the 2-minute version, all right? Me and Andy got there real early. We got to the front. We were excited. We had a great time. The first band fucking killed it. Speed is the band. Go check them out. They're super
Fuck
fun.
the second band.
Okay, well, we'll talk about them in the second.
I'm not even going to say their name.
No, we won't even say their name. Speed was amazing, and I even joked, and I looked at Andy, and I said, man, I love that band. I was like, that guy just put everybody in a great mood. I was like, just like a positive guy. This is like the ironic part of the whole thing. And then this other band starts playing, and these like drunk college kids, chicks come like pushing up, and they like push in front of me and Andy, and it's like they were like 4'3", so we were like, whatever, it's not a big deal, we're gonna let it go. We kind of just looked at each other and like laughed a little bit, and then like this like one of the boyfriends like comes up, and he kind of like shoves everybody out of the way, and then me and Andy kind of looked at each other, and we're like, whatever. But he's like doing the thing where he's like drunk, and he's like,
you get one pass.
And then, like, then he's doing the thing where he's like leaning back, drunk, and he's like kind of in like leaning back into Andy a little bit. And I remember at one point, Andy kind of like looked at me and was like, "Oh my god," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, it's annoying." So at some point, he looks at his girlfriend and is like, "I'm rolling. Like, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. I'm gonna go get a drink. Whatever he's gonna do." So he leaves, and he's gone for like 15, 20 minutes. So at this point, I'm like, whatever. Like,
Crowd gets tighter.
Like crowd starts getting tightened up again. We're all like, all the spaces get full. All of a sudden, but Andy said, that guy's gonna come back, and I was like, well,
she's gonna come. Yeah.
And I said, well, that's fine, but like, like that's not how this works, like we got here, this is our spot, like you don't just get to like push people around. Well, weirdly, I must have put that juju in the universe, because this guy comes up and he shoulder checks me, and I bounce on one foot, and I look at him and I say, are you good? And he's like, I'm standing here. And I said, well, that's the problem, I'm standing here. And then he's like, and then I was like, and you and all your little friends came up and fucking butted in front of us, and we've been cool about it this whole time. And he's like, you want to go outside? You want to go outside? And I just was like, fuck you, dude.
Keep in mind,
fuck
there's like a bunch of cops right out front, so
yeah, he's like asking me to go outside so we can fight with the cops. And he's like, you want to go outside? I'm like, fuck you. And then I'm like, fuck you, dude. So we're like nose to nose, and Andy's like, poor Andy's like, all right, like trying to like back everybody up. But here's the thing, I know
I'm like this.
And I know, here's the thing, I know that this isn't the first time this guy has done some shit like this, because his girlfriend keeps like looking 21. At me being like, I'm sorry. And I was like, it's fine. And I'm like, it's good. And the security guard's like telling me to be cool. And he's like, just be cool. And I'm like, I'm cool, dude. I was like, he shoved me out of the way. So the whole time the rest of the shitty ass band is playing, the guy's like yelling across he's like, he's a pussy.
He's like, he's a fucking bitch.
He's a bitch. He won't meet me outside or whatever. Again, there's like 20 cops outside. So I look at Andy at one point and I'm like, all right, we have 3 choices here. We can, because he's not done. So he's going to come over when this band's done playing, and it's obviously going to continue on once the silence happens and it's all awkward and like they're like changing equipment over. I play in a band. I know how this works. So then I look at Andy, I'm like, okay, so like what we can do is we can leave and call it a night and just, you know what, this sucks, but it was a flop. Or we can move to a different part of the venue, which it's like, dude, him and I busted our asses to get there early. It was the principle of the situation. And then, or I think I even told Andy, or we just wait and see what happens. But here's the fact. I'm a 34-year-old man with a daughter and a family and a job. And I don't need to be fighting a 21-year-old dude at a hardcore show over some stupid stuff. And should I maybe have just let him push me out of the way and butt in front of me? Maybe. But there was part of me that felt like that wasn't right. and I felt like I needed to stand up for that. And so Andy and I made the adult 30-year-old decision to just call it a night and leave before any other problems happen, which is very unfortunate. But you know, it is what it is sometimes. I mean, I have a little girl at home that I don't need to be stabbed by some like 21-year-old in a venue, you know. Wait, that is the whole story.
And back to wrestling. That was way more than 2 minutes.
Okay,
I'm gonna give you the short 2-minute version.
I just didn't. I don't want to leave people. I can't be like, I got to fight at this concert, and then like we move on.
People listening like, that was the dumbest fight story. I was expecting fists to fly.
No,
I sat through that for a shoving contest.
And that's the thing. Jeremy can cut the whole thing out. It's fine. I just was giving the context of what happened.
All right. Jey Uso. Jey motherfucking Uso would defeat Chad Gable. Afterwards, Abby the Witch. That's what I'm calling her. That's what I'm sticking with.
That's what we're going with?
For the third week in a row. Maybe fourth? Third VHS?
Third?
Gave a VHS to Michael Cole, which would be played later. Backstage.
First of all, there ain't shit going on this week in wrestling, so my fight story is the best shit that they're going to hear all week. By the way, you're welcome. Jeremy, don't cut any of that. I just thought about that.
I'm not saying to cut it out.
You're like reviewing this show back, and I'm like, there ain't shit going on. You're saying that my fight story is bad. At least mine was real.
Tim just got triggered.
Pissing me off over here.
If your brother can't give you a hard time, who can?
I'm joking.
All right, so backstage there was a gentleman's agreement, I guess we could call it, between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins. You know, they had the stipulation at Money in the Bank that if Damian Priest won, that Seth could never challenge for it again. While he was champion, Damian Priest decided to make that go away. So then in my head, what was the point of it in general if you just planned on doing that anyway?
Yeah.
But also backstage at some point, we saw Liv and Dom like on a couch together, and then the rest of the members, Finn, Carlito, and JD would stick their heads out like it's a fucking cartoon. All right, it was like
on top of each other,
and they're looking, and I guess before they acknowledge themselves, Liv leaves, and Dom says something about like there better be tendies and nuggies, which fucking made me laugh. He's like, there better be tendies and nuggies there. She's like, God, you're a fucking child.
Nuggie. Anything you add ease to the end is as far like they'll be like where you,
I'll walk to tendies and nuggies.
I'll walk to Starbucks at work, and they'll be like, where are you going? And I'm like, Starbies. And they'll be like,
See, it was just like during that shoving contest, Tim was really angies.
I was angry. I was angry.
Yeah. You're right.
So during this segment, though, Liv, I guess, was sitting on Dom on the couch. And so when she goes away, something was mentioned of like, you know, it's really hard. And then, or they were like, it's not that hard, Dom. And then Carlito looks at Dom and he's like, well, it's a little bit hard. Referring to his piece.
His piece.
So we got dick jokes now back in the WWE, apparently.
I mean, Triple H is in charge
during this whole thing, dude.
Carlito's been funny the entire time.
Like week after week, he's been. Yeah. But the tendies and nuggies thing was what really got me this week, and then it was Carlito. We had a segment with Sami Zayn, who
tendies and nuggies. I mean,
yeah, he said there better be tendies and nuggies.
So chicken nuggets and chicken tenders, just double chicken.
Yeah.
In my head I was picturing fries, but like I'm like, wait, tendies and nuggies?
He said tendies and nuggies? Yeah, I forgot.
Protein.
Maybe I sent it to you guys or something, but It was like they redid American Pie. I think Finn posted it. They redid the American Pie poster with like the members of Judgment Day, and then in the top right corner, in quotes, it said, "There better be tendies and nuggies."
That's funny.
But yeah, the Sami Zayn segment. This was Sami Zayn coming out after beating Braun Breaker at Money in the Bank. Braun would end up. Sami basically wanted to denounce the whole idea that he is an underdog. That notion can go away after his, after beating Gunther, after beating Braun. You can't really call him an underdog anymore if he's continuously beating people that people say he shouldn't beat. Braun Breaker would interrupt. Fake sincerity, and then spear Sami Zayn. Officials would hit the ring. Ilya Dragunov would come out. Then we would end up getting Ilya and Braun in a good match, but Braun would end up winning. So, looks like the program between Braun and Sami is continuing, possibly with Ilya thrown in the mix. If we do get a triple threat match at SummerSlam between the three, you best believe Ilya's taking that pin.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. I think Braun Breaker, if he's going to win, is going to win it at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and Sami's not going to take the pin.
So the VHS was finally played, by the way. The one that was dropped off by Abby the Witch. It was Bo Dallas again talking with Uncle Howdy in an internal dialogue. After back and forth, Dallas would say they were talking about, I guess, being sick. He said, "I took those that no one wanted, the disposed, the discarded. I gave them a purpose." So this is talking about all the members of the Wyatt Six who, I guess you could say their characters and stuff were kind of like no one wanted them around. No one cared crowd-wise. They didn't have any storylines for them, whatever that may have you. He said, "There's been loss, too much, but grief is the price you pay for love." And then, right after, and I was not expecting this, by the way, it would show Chad Gable talking to Adam Pearce outside of Adam Pearce's office. Gable would go away, and then Adam Pearce would open up the door, and you would see the back of someone's head sitting down on the couch, and they would turn, and you get this camera shot, and it's Bo Dallas in Adam Pearce's, like, not in Uncle Howdy match, just Bo Dallas in Adam Pearce's office waiting to talk to Adam Pearce. So, maybe we get Chad Gable, Bo Dallas, SummerSlam? Uncle Howdy, then Bo Dallas, or Uncle Howdy, Chad Gable, SummerSlam?
My only problem with this is how do you follow up with what happened with, the incident when everybody was fucked up backstage? I feel like we're just moving on from that. But yeah, I feel like we're just moving on from that.
Yeah.
Though. Like everybody was like bloody and like killed, and now all of a sudden like Bo Dallas is just like,
no, I'm murdered.
And they're like, I'm in the office requesting a match now.
They weren't murdered. They were just sent away for a little. For a little while.
They're sent away.
They just sent them away.
Kill Muhammad Hassan. We just took him off TV.
We just made him go away for a little while. All right.
Just made him go away.
Paul Bearer in the concrete crypt. We didn't kill him.
We didn't kill him.
Made him go away for a little while.
Yeah.
Just made him go away. So yeah, Ilya would defeat Braun Breaker via DQ because Braun would throw an office chair at Ilya. Sami Zayn, though, would come out after being attacked earlier in the night, which we talked about, to help out Ilya and try to fend off Braun Breaker. A new trios would emerge and beat down Damage Control after their match against Lyra Valkyria, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance. This trio would be Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville, who is now officially returned, and Shayna Baszler, a.k.a. the Lesbians!
Wait, what?
No, they're not called the Lesbians. But remember when that was a group? It was the two girls on Raw.
Yeah, that was an actual group.
The Lesbians. So now this is the internet wrestling community meme going around.
Andy, I like for a second I was like, why are you getting us canceled right now? Why are you doing this?
I wanted it to relate to Jeremy knows where I'm going. I wanted it to relate to people are showing that old picture of these two girls on Raw from like Ruthless Aggression era that Vince called the lesbians.
And
it was
the
like
title
a brunette
tag
and a redhead.
Dude,
on
But
the
now
entrance said
people are taking
lesbians.
that title tag and putting it underneath Shayna Deville and Zoe in their ring debut and said the lesbians.
I can't believe that any of that
That's the
is
wrestling
real.
community for you. No, they don't have a name yet.
I
But the
just
wrestling
can't believe that
community
the
got
Vince
on
thing,
that real quick.
I can't believe that Vince did that.
That was an actual
And
thing.
if you're listening, don't believe us. We're not trying to talk shit. I mean, I am trying to be funny because the internet.
And he's like,
Yeah.
he's like,
IWC
I'm funny, okay?
was funny. I want it to be
I
clear.
am funny, guys.
I want it to be clear.
funny.
I did not make this up. I did not, come up with it. Actually, if you want to go all the way back, it was Vince McMahon. Vince is the cause of all this. So
Vince is, just
Blame
like
it
everything
on
in
Vince.
wrestling, I feel like.
It's Vince's fault.
I don't even know if they wrestled, by the way, the lesbians.
I've no idea. I've only seen the entrance. I haven't seen them in an actual match.
Just to reiterate one more time, this was their actual team name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was on
the banner.
The lower third that pops up and it says lesbian.
Vince was behind the scenes like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, exactly.
He loved
like, this is good shit.
Dude, he probably was cracking up the whole entrance.
I know.
Also,
Psychopath.
Speaking of a weird time period, that time, for some reason, I saw the clip recently of Eugene and Triple H in the bouncy house.
On the trampoline?
Yeah.
Or on the bouncy castle?
The bouncy house? Yeah.
He's like...
That's crazy they had Eugene as a character.
All the comments were like, some of the younger kids were like, can anybody explain to me what the fuck this is?
He was Eric Bischoff's nephew, man.
I was like...
That was nephew.
Who really, that guy, like, trained a bunch of people in OVW and stuff.
Yeah, what's crazy is that poor guy is, like, apparently, I never saw much of his stuff.
Super good at wrestling.
He's, like, a great worker, like, a great wrestler, like, a good guy, and Vince being Vince.
Him and The Rock were great.
Vince being Vince decided that he wanted...
Oh, well, you mean in a segment together, Eugene and The Rock?
Yeah.
Like his favorite wrestler was Triple H.
Dude, the idea...
Do the voice.
Dude, the idea of Eugene is just so bad.
Imagine someone trying to pitch that now. They're like, so I got this idea.
Hey, Triple H. Don't do the voice. It makes it real.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That was around the time of like Snitsky punting the baby.
Yeah, he killed the baby.
Wrestling was out of pocket. Katie Vick.
Katie Vick.
The live sex celebration.
That was the worst.
Dude, that
era was wild.
That era was crazy.
The lesbians.
Or dude, the one where Triple H goes up behind the girl when he like reaches up her skirt and she's like, "Get off me, you pig!" And Triple H is like, "Yeah, she wants it." And then like him and like Ric Flair like dap each other up, and I'm just like,
so awful.
So
was it Trish that was bent over and Triple H was like from behind and Steph walks in?
Guys, what was wrong with everybody back?
And we're at home as kids, like ha ha ha.
Yeah, and Vince even did stuff like that too.
Dude, the Triple
Making
H
Regal kiss his ass. He's like, "It's a pretty nice ass, ain't it?"
It's a good.
I can make it dance.
I can make my ass do tricks. Dude, that era was too much. God. I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah, Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville, and Shayna Baszler are a team. That's my point. That is my point. All right, main event: Dominic and Liv defeat
just like your mother. That was like every McMahon. That was like every McMahon storyline back then.
Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan would defeat Zelina Vega and Rey Mysterio. Afterwards, Liv, I guess, would fall on the ground, and Dom would get on top of her, and it looks like they're about to kiss. And then Rhea Ripley's music would hit, and she would come down. So, Rhea Ripley was back. I didn't even know there was no rumors of her coming back. I hadn't seen anything, so I was pleasantly surprised. I
It's
guess
good timing too when they did it at the end, because it was like, wasn't
it was at the very end
Dom
of the
and
show,
Liv?
and then
Yeah.
Dom was stayed in the ring. Liv left, hopped over.
Yeah,
the
I mean, like
barricade.
right before she came out, though, they were like, weren't they like about to kiss or something? Yeah.
So yeah, that was Raw. Let's get into SmackDown. Tiffany Stratton opened up the show. Tiffany Stratton was the new Miss Money in the Bank. She came out with her briefcase. I got a couple questions. 1, why isn't it pink? 2, why isn't there a strap on it like it's a purse and she can wear it?
Easy things.
Dude.
Little things.
Well, these are things that she mentioned during the press conference that she wanted to do. I was like, that's a great idea. You're supposed to personalize it.
What about the Eric Bischoff pie eating contest? And then Mae Young came out.
Okay.
And then she starts giving them the Bronco Buster.
Mae Young.
She starts giving them Bronco Buster. And then apparently they put sardines in her panties before. Dude, that's a crazy story.
Wasn't it on Raw one time? Like Mae Young got powerbombed like off the stage.
Yeah, by the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, by the Dudley.
Yeah, the Dudley Boys. Yeah.
Yeah, but the sardines in the panties and then giving Eric Bischoff the Bronco Buster is crazy.
Speaking of
there's a great
like that in the
dude.
Dudley.
There's a great story of Eric where he's like, there's a segment where me and Linda had to make out one time, and then he's like, I think she liked it. He's like, she was giving me a little tongue back
because she's a pog.
Conan's like, she's a pug, so we have to, obviously the crowd's going to be into her.
Speaking of teams and the Dudleys, I forgot. Do you guys, well, maybe you guys have seen some episodes of This Is Awesome, but the newest episode was Greatest Tag Teams. I'm trying to remember the ones I made the list. It was Legion of Doom, Midnight Express, the Hardys, Dudleys, Edge and Christian. Those were all separate ones. New Day, the Usos were the final one. They were saying they're like the greatest tag team of all time. But also Demolition was on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the super tag teams. Yeah, the Hogan and Macho Man.
Dude, I forgot to tell you guys. And it's awesome that we're on the podcast right now. So I'm driving. I had an appointment with my tax guy this morning, and I'm driving there, and there's this 89 and a half year old fucking dude in front of me driving so slow. And I'm like, oh my God. So, I mean, there's nothing else to do, right? So I'm just looking at his bumper stickers on the back of his car. And, it's like all the typical stuff, like retired Vietnam vet. And then, like, it had, like, the American flag and some other stuff. And then all of a sudden, dude, I look and one just says Reborn by Fate with the Hardy Boys logo. And I was just like, I was like, is this their dad? Like, I was like, why?
No,
like,
he died.
Oh, did he? Oh, that's sad. No, but
yeah,
I was like, but in my head, I was like trying to be like, why else would an old ass man have? Like, I could see him through the the rear view, like his rear view mirror. Like I knew he was old. And he was driving like 4 miles an hour. I was like, and he has the Reborn by Fate WrestleMania whatever sticker on his car. It's crazy.
That's so funny.
I was dying, dude. I mean, after that, I wasn't even mad anymore. I just was like, hey, this guy's cool with me now.
I like how Andy knew what that exactly was.
So it was literally that, but a bumper sticker on the back of his car.
This old guy just jamming out to like their theme song too.
Just doing the juke while he drives.
Yeah.
Let's continue. So during this Tiffany Stratton match or segment that opened up the show, Bayley would end up coming out. Nia Jax would end up coming out. She would say something about Bayley's big booty. What's she called? A BBL?
Yeah.
Then Nia would end up trying to attack Bayley. Because if you all remember, I know it's been a while, the King and Queen of the Rings have been off TV pretty much and not doing anything storyline-wise until now.
Yeah, they've had to wait.
SummerSlam is Nia Jax versus Bayley. SummerSlam, it's Nia Jax versus Bayley because she is the Queen of the Ring. After that, we had an LA Knight segment where he was basically, I believe, signing the contract to face Logan Paul at Money in the Bank, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you guys think he's going to win this time?
Yes. Are we doing predictions now?
Right?
You want to do predictions now?
Well, no, I'm just saying about this match.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope he does.
Yeah, because I don't really feel like he won't continue this hot streak.
So yeah, LA Knight would sign his half of the contract. Naomi would defeat Blair Davenport. Again, for people who don't know who she is, she was in NXT, and before she was in WWE, she was Bea Priestley. She also used to date Will Ospreay when she was on Independence, and I think Bria. Is it Bea or Bria Priestley was her name? No one remembers. No one remembers her.
Who?
Indie wrestling fan Jeremy doesn't remember.
Dude, I could go for some brie right now. You know what I'm saying? Like some some crackers, and then the melted cheese. Oh my god!
It was Bea Priestley.
I was thinking about a bagel right now too.
I like a brie bagel.
Anyway, Naomi would defeat her. I think this might have been one of her first matches. I'm just gonna keep talking. Fucking talking about food now. All right. DIY would defeat A-Town Down Under. After the match, Jacob Fatu would come out and destroy everyone except for Grayson Waller, who would make an escape. Dude, he just came out 1v3'd again, the tag team champions and Austin Theory.
And the way he did it was crazy.
Yeah, like, he just, like, he was doing everything, dude. He was diving through the ropes. He was, like, super kicking. He was.
We've been saying it.
Was all to set up.
People, not just us, people, other wrestling podcasts, when we said, like, once this dude comes in, shit's going to be crazy. And he's killing him.
The hit, what's the corner move that he does? Like, where he runs and then slams his, like, basically his butt into him?
Oh,
Samoa ass.
I mean, Umaga used to do it. Like, Rikishi used to do it.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that other?
I forget what it's called exactly.
Did you guys see that other podcast where they were reviewing? They were like, "Why do they do the Andre shot on Rikishi's ass?" And it like zooms up
on it. Jacob Fatu would come out to set up the main event segment, which was the Bloodline would come out to join Fatu. And Solo Sikoa would speak about getting rid of everyone in the Bloodline who refused to acknowledge him. This is hinting at why they got rid of Paul Heyman. And he would say he'll get rid of Roman too when Roman decides to come back, that he doesn't acknowledge him. So, setting up, I do believe
that's the first time he mentioned Roman by name, wasn't it?
Like recently? When they did the vignette back, like he was sitting there with the smoke. And he put on the Ulafala. But this segment would continue until Cody Rhodes came out and said that he's, basically he knows what Solo wants and he's willing to defend the title against him at SummerSlam. The Bloodline would then surround him, but Cody would then take the first shot at Solo Sikoa before all the other members of the Bloodline would start fighting him. Randy Orton would run down to help him, but Randy would do a lot before he was eventually taken down by them. The Bloodline would spend a couple minutes destroying both of the guys before tying Cody Rhodes up into the ropes, and then Solo forced Rhodes to watch Randy take a triple powerbomb through the announce table before the show would go off of air. And that is everything from this week in the wrestling world of those two companies.
Yeah, exciting week.
Well,
all right.
Yeah,
it was alright.
For a fallout of Money in the Bank, it could have been better for a fallout.
Yeah, that's true.
I actually don't have a classic show of the week this week. I have been going back and watching a lot of old. After the whole death of WCW,
I got one.
show. All right, but
Oh,
like,
Andy.
but I just want to say, like, I haven't gone and watch. I went back and purposely watched bad Nitros from the end. Like, I wanted to
That
see.
sounds awful.
I wanted to see how bad it was. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
All right,
pretty
so Booker Andy's classic show of the week. All right, I had my friend Corey, who I've talked about on the podcast, asked me for a pay-per-view opinion to watch, and so this was a couple days ago, and so I looked up best pay-per-views from 2003, and WrestleMania 19 being the main number one. I went with number 2 and told him to watch that one. So this is Vengeance 2003. The card is
Vengeance.
The
One
card
of
is
the mo-
Ultimo Dragon versus Chris.
One of the most
Huh?
expensive DVDs.
Really, with Undertaker on the front. That one.
Mm.
The card is Ultimo Dragon versus Chris Kanyon, Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit, Jamie Noble with Nitty against Billy Gunn with Tori Wilson, Bradshaw, or the APA Invitational Barroom Brawl, I guess you could call it. So we have Bradshaw's involved, along with Brother Love and a bunch of other people. The World's Greatest Tag Team, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin versus Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Sable versus Stephanie McMahon in a no count out match. Undertaker versus John Cena. This is maybe the only time you get Big Evil Undertaker versus Cena. Mr. McMahon versus Zach Gowen in a singles match. And then I mainly say this for the main event, which is a triple threat match for the WWE Championship. Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, and The Big Show.
I remember this match.
Wow.
So this is I guess this is back when they were doing SmackDown and Raw pay-per-views. And Backlash after Mania was a Raw pay-per-view. So Vengeance was the first SmackDown pay-per-view after Mania, which is why Kurt Angle and Lesnar are in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had the main event at Mania 2 months before. Or maybe a month before.
Yeah, this is a great. This is a great show, top to bottom. It's definitely a. I mean, if you were a DVD collector 10 years ago, you definitely knew. There's like 4 DVDs to this day that are like the most expensive. It's Vengeance 03, WrestleMania 17 and 18, and then a rare Raw. Actually, there's 2 more. A Raw one, and then the Eddie Guerrero tribute show. Those are like the most expensive ones.
Which is funny because I'm looking at prices and they vary so much, all the way from $12 for some guy on eBay, and then $80.
Yeah, so it's because it's like the condition that you want it in. You know, these things are getting so old at this point. But I will say with a lot of the prices have dropped on some stuff with Peacock and the WWE Network, because it's like, you know, just watch it on there. You don't need to spend.
Brand new, unopened, sealed is $80.
Yeah. Which, like, if you're a collector,
pre-owned is like $12.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. But no, this is a great show, top to bottom. It's a classic, a little bit of a sleeper show, and I think it really represents a cool time in SmackDown. I mean, Andy, me and you were very into SmackDown at this time. There was a time where Andy and I might have, like, I looked a little bit more forward to. We've talked about this on the show before, but Andy and I love SmackDown because we could watch it from 8 to 10. Our bedtime when we were kids was 10 o'clock. But
SmackDown was the wrestling show.
Yeah, SmackDown was also the wrestling show, but Raw went from 9 to 11. So at the time, it was still 2 hours. So my mom didn't let us stay up that late, so we could only watch the first hour of Raw, and then we'd have to like get on WWE.com to like see what happened. You know, so SmackDown was awesome. So I think this show in particular is a great representation of a cool era of SmackDown. But I mean, I guess that wraps up the episode then.
That's it.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
we appreciate you all joining us for episode 137. Thank you all so much. I love these two guys right here. Go watch some old bad WCW. Go watch Vengeance 03, and we will catch you next week with episode 138. Have a great week, guys. Enjoy.